emotions. This is Mordant Mon. Welcome to the other side of live.
Welcome, everybody, to the other side of live. This is Mordant Mon. And hello to everybody out there in the morning, to all of you from the No Agenda stream. You have arrived here at the Bear Crawling Nation. And, of course, my partner in crime, the dark side of positive. Let's say hello, Charles McFall.
Hello, Charles McFall. Oh, wait, that's me. Hello, everybody else. No, nothing? Okay.
Nothing. I think that's it. We also have a guest tonight, Cindy Lu from the Four-Man-Planner. Say hello, Cindy Lu.
Hi.
So wonderful
everyone.
That you could be here with us tonight.
I'm excited. I'm excited to hear what you guys want to talk about.
Well, mostly we want to talk about you. First, I want to talk to Charles just for a second. Last week, our show, Always Be Learning, Yo, I think we're learning still. Some weird stuff is happening on the No Agenda stream. It is, for the first time ever, not our fault. Although it is our problem, not our fault. So what have you been learning this week, Charles?
I've been learning that how you parent your kids is how you do everything in life. I guess you kind of say how you do anything is how you do everything, but I've had some interesting moments with, I had all three children to myself for 2 days, and that was an interesting 2 days for sure.
In a good way?
Both, in a good way and a bad way, but definitely in a learning way.
Right.
So, I don't want to bore everybody with the details, but it was just a lot of frustrations and ups and downs and why are you doing what you're doing? And, I don't know. It is what it is. So, but, I made it through. The kids are alive. I'm happy. We're all good.
Well, enough about us tonight. I think we have a lot to learn from our guest, Cindy Lu, author of the Four-Man Plan. I have listened to it. I got to tell you, a plethora of times. It is one of my standbys as far as when I'm speaking to people about dating or relationships. I will refer to you often. So welcome to our show.
Thank you. I'm so happy to be here.
Good.
I listened to the show you did with Paige, and I don't actually haven't spoken to her, and I just felt like she understood it so well. I am in contact with a lot of the women on the plan because of my Facebook group, so it was really nice to see someone that I had never experienced in person just really interpret it so well.
Yeah, and it was nice that we could connect through her or via that show. I'm glad that you liked it a lot, and we were happy, of course, to pay homage to you. But let's pretend that most of the people listening to us tonight may not know what the Four-Man Plan is exactly. Can you, in a nutshell, tell us what it is?
Mm-hmm. It's evolved. The Four-Man Plan. It was a one-woman show that I wrote to promote my acting career in 2006, and it turned into a book that turned into a little dating revolution. And basically what it is asking women to apply their logical, mathematical, scientific mind to the more irrational, emotional, ethereal experience of dating and looking for someone to love. And what that really does is blend a strength with something that might be a weakness. What's that?
I think we're getting a little bit of echo in the machine, some ghosts in the machine.
Okay.
So where did this all come from, other than to promote your acting career? Where did you actually, how did you come up with the Four-Man Plan? I know that you've worked it through your life, and it's actually helped you in moving forward in your relationship and meeting your husband.
Oh, absolutely. Yes, it was instrumental. It came to me because I had two careers. I had my acting career, and I also had my energy healing career, my channeling life, that I started to receive a lot of information from higher sources about what a lot of my dating issues were. And so I was really inspired to do everything completely different from the way I'd originally done it.
Right. Now, one of your higher sources, from what I understand from listening to the audiobook, is Charles Nelson Reilly.
It is Charles Nelson Reilly's last job. Yeah, I was really honored to have him do the voiceover as my fairy godmother.
How were you able to get him? How did that work out?
My director for the show is Paul Link, and he was very close friends with Charles Nelson Reilly. And
Well,
my
that's
husband,
fantastic.
Earl, was actually able to record Charles from his home.
Really?
Yeah, it was really something.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful. It's such a pleasant surprise to see him because I grew up with him and all those people from back in the back in the 70s. So it's nice to see him working, and that's great that it was his last job.
It was, and in the show we used so many of his ad libs because he was just hilarious.
Right. Now, if there's somebody who's approaching and wanting to use a four-man plan for the first time, what exactly does it do for them? Let's say I know that's directed towards women. So
Yes,
what
it's
exactly
directed
can they
towards women.
expect from this?
Well, what it really does is give your dating life a structure. Most people are using online dating sites, and it's chaos in there. It's just an absolute circus. And it's really hard to organize and focus about how you're supposed to go about it, especially when most of us have grown up as serial monogamists. So it's a way to quantify your experience with a structure, and then the structure helps to expose any of your patterns that you might have that are affecting you negatively or positively. And it lets you know that a lot of the experiences you're having with men are all about you. They're not about the individual men.
Isn't
A lot
it the
of
way it
times
always
we've
is
seen-
with everybody?
Yeah, it is always about us, right? And so many times we'll pick a guy, we'll lock onto him, we'll start having issues, and we'll think if he would only change this or change that, we would have the perfect relationship. When you're dating four guys and the same problem comes up with all of them, then you have to face the fact that you're the common denominator.
Right. Right. I think that I found that women tend to want to change men, and men always want a woman that will never change. And both of those are just empty pursuits, I think.
Yeah, it's hard to grow together.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So now the four-man plan, it's just, I don't think people really understand it. And with Paige, we're able to talk around what it was. Can you break down exactly? I know you have something called a mantress graph. I know you have a lot of different techniques. What I throw your book at some of my female friends or anybody that I'm coaching, what I like to put out there is that it teaches women, especially young women, teaches women to respect themselves. You don't have to give it up in order to get the person you want. And chances are, if you are giving it up so soon, you're not going to get that person. You're going to lose them because you're not respecting yourself. And anybody who is going to settle down with somebody, you want somebody who respects themselves.
I think this culture has been really confusing for young women because the media and those kinds of things are over-sexualizing dating and going out, that it's some kind of hookup experience, and that if you're this powerful woman that you could just have sex and not care, right? So I think it's kind of a double-edged sword that they've been led down with the culture. And the four-man plan really gives them another option of waiting for sex and how to wait and what the benefits of that are. Not that you can't have sex on the plan, because you absolutely can. There's room for that in your graph. But to put some more value in it and a little more thought into it. And if you are going to just do a one-night fling because that guy has great abs, just know what you're doing, and your intentions.
Yeah, I like what you say that you're not their grandmother. You're not here to say don't go out and have fun, but this is just how to have fun. And it all is about what you really want out of this. I mean, if you're not looking for a relationship, then you're going to go follow a different path. If you are looking for a relationship, then don't fool yourself. You're going to want to do the things that are going to actually attract somebody who wants to stay with you and not just use you.
Absolutely. And also to not be delusional. What a lot of girls think is like every guy they meet that is even remotely nice to them or attractive to them, they think this is the one, this is the one, this is the one. You know what I mean? It's like, no, you're probably you're probably going to need to date several guys before you find the one. That's just a numbers thing. So it makes a really realistic approach to dating and what they want. And knowing what you are, I know you're big on manifesting, and so am I. And the Four-Man Plan really gives women a way to figure out exactly what they want through the structure.
Right, right. One of the things that my favorite quote that from your book that I will throw out, and I'm paraphrasing it. It's not going to be exact. A man will do only what he has to do to get you in bed the first time.
For the life of the relationship.
Right. Right. So you kind of set the bar. It's your choice. It's your decision for how far you want to go. What he has to do. Do you want to go out and have conversation with your partner? Do you want to go out and do fun things? Or are you from the first date going, oh, we're going to go ahead and have sex? And then all of a sudden, that's all you got.
I tell women all the time, it's like sex is fantastic and extremely important for the life of your relationship. But it really, if you break it down mathematically, if you have sex every day for about an hour, right, who's doing that? That's still only 5% of your time. So it's really important to explore what you like about each other the other 95% of the time. But also as far as waiting for sex, I think, women we can have sex whenever we want. It's kind of always our choice, right? I mean, the guys are always hoping, I hope we have sex tonight. And the woman is the one that gets to decide whether we do it or not. Because the guys always want it. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So that's what makes it our choice. You know what I mean? A guy doesn't say, like, well, tonight I can have sex or not have sex. He has to have the consent of the woman. But it's not hard for a woman to get the consent of a guy to have sex, even if later he sort of regrets it. Because he really likes her, and now they've had sex, and it's sort of marginalized what they might have built up emotionally before having that encounter.
Right. Right. I think that one of the things that women don't realize, or maybe even people don't realize, is that men and women, both of them, their bodies are like physically, yes, I want to do this. I'm attracted to you. My body is working. And as I talk to you and I get closer to you, even with within the span of a date, I want to have sex with you. I want to move forward and do that with you. But if you go ahead and do that and you're moving at the speed of your body as opposed to the speed of your heart, and a man hasn't had a chance for his emotions to tether to that person, well, as soon as he ejaculates, as soon as he comes, or as soon as he has sex, suddenly he's going to find himself in the middle of something that he's like, I'm not ready to be here, and I feel vulnerable, and I'm out of here. And the woman's left there going, well, what happened? I thought that this was going to, I thought this really bonded like it did with me.
And they might have had a great date and a great night, and then ended it with sex, and then that's it. Where they could have had a great date and a great night and decided not to end it with sex, and all they want to do is get together again.
Right. Right. Yeah, exactly. And I think that if you put it out, if you just keep up that sexual tension, it makes it very interesting for the second date.
Oh, or the 10th date. I mean, the longer you wait, it's sort of like putting, it's sort of like building your own fireworks. You know what I mean? Do you want to light just one little firecracker, or do you want to just keep packing gunpowder in that thing until it's just the biggest show you've ever seen? You know what I mean? So it's worth it.
Well, just in case suddenly our radio feed is up and working, I'm going to throw out the number. It is 813-413-7133. If you want to call in and have a conversation with Cindy Lu, please do, because I'm enjoying it. I know that you will. How's that for a plug, huh?
I love it. Where's Charles? Where did he go?
I think he's trying to fix things on the back end. I know he's
that's
still
sweet.
Here yeah. But, we just gotta keep going, baby. That's all.
I hear you.
I am here, and it is up and running. And thanks to Gitmo Slave for fixing that. There was a server issue on their end, and we are up and running. Everybody's in the chat room hearing us and talking now, so we're good to go. They'll have to get the podcast to see what they missed in the first 20 minutes, but the rest is gravy, baby.
In the morning, No Agenda Stream, and we actually have a caller calling in right now.
Wow.
Hello, Sarina Stone. Welcome to the other side of live.
Hi. Hi, Sarina. Hi. Who am I speaking to?
You.
Oh my God! Am I on?
Nobody. You're not. It's just people.
I've been sitting here for 10 minutes just trying to figure out how to listened to the show. It's on. I can hear it, by the way.
Oh, good.
Yeah, it's working. Hi.
Well, Sarina, do you have anything you wanted to say to Cindy Lou? I know you talk to me all the time, so that's no big deal.
Yeah, I do. Cindy, hi, my name is Sarina.
Hi.
And when Mordant told me that he was interviewing you, I just about fell off my chair. And he knew it was going to be a big deal. I wanted to call just to say thank you.
Oh.
I read the Four-Man Plan. Okay, I listened to the Four-Man Plan immediately after a very painful breakup. And I was driving my rise from Minnesota down to North Carolina, and I listened to your book on the way, and I decided I'm just going to do it. I'm going to do it. And there's a few points in there that I really glommed onto. And when I hit the show that actually Mordant was in as well, there's hundreds of people that work there, and I said, all right, I have my little pieces of paper in my pocket with my name and my phone number. I'm not going to say no to anybody who asks me out. And tell all your friends I'm available.
Unless they're icky. Well,
unless they're icky, and of course,
right.
That goes without saying. And I didn't exactly make a board, but I did remember the point system and the quarterman and the 1.5 and all that stuff. I got to tell you, it took months off of the painful part of a breakup.
Oh, thank you so much.
It was, thank you. And I still talk about certain points that you made. I think the point that you made about how you really can only do the Four-Man Plan if you're a woman who dates men, because if you, from what I remember, and you can correct me, that a man, when he finds out that there are other gentlemen dating the lady, will become chivalrous and become a better version of himself, and they compete. Not with each other, but they compete for your hand. And eventually, hopefully, one of them shines, and then you don't need your board anymore. But a woman will kill the guy trying to get to the other woman.
Yeah.
Okay?
I'll kill her and you.
Okay?
Yeah.
I remembered that really well. I bet you I quote that. I must quote that every 3 or 4 months.
And what did you experience when you did it? Did you experience that?
What do you mean? Did I experience?
Well, did you experience that men became more chivalrous and pursue you more, or what was your experience with that?
I did. I took your advice, and I was just honest. I also, didn't sleep with everybody, which I don't know. The jury's still out on that. But my experience was that, yes, gentlemen who really wanted my attention started bending over backwards and, really trying to shine. I was so busy so quickly. That's why I'm saying I know that my behavior after that breakup, after reading that book, it took months off of the painful part. I got so busy after a while, and I felt so good about myself because they really wanted me,
Right, you're not damaged goods, you're not broken. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now,
Yeah,
Cindy Lou, I just wanted to
sir?
bring up, since Sarina brought it up, she talks about chivalry and then there's the competition. So you have both chivalry and the competition with the men because they all know about each other. So how does that work?
Yes, that's a really important part of the plan, is that by the end, at the very latest, by the end of the second date, a woman has to gracefully include in conversation that she's dating other men, she's exploring her options, but she's not sleeping around. She just wants the opportunity to get to know herself while she's dating people. So, more than one person. And it's always a great exercise for the women because most of them are terrified to tell anyone that they're dating other people, even when they've met them through an online dating site. It's an assumption, but they're afraid to upset people or hurt their feelings simply by telling the truth about who they are and what they're doing. So that part of the process is all about learning to have a hard conversation with people and keep it light and about you and not forcing anything on them.
Right now, I've got to say, I've been watching True Blood lately, and these guys all know about each other. I think that they'd want to kill each other. That doesn't happen.
I think we've in the life of my forum and the group, I've only had one person that really experienced, or two people that really experienced some jeopardy because he found out that they were dating, she was dating other men. Of course, that gives us a great bit of data about that guy. If he's going to start stalking her on a forum and being really aggressive and being really jealous, I think the sooner she knows something like that, the better, right? Because it might come off as passion or I'm really into you. If she gets into a monogamous relationship with him, she might not find out he's dangerously jealous until it's too late. So I think it's really great that if a guy doesn't react well in a sort of unpleasant way, she gets that data. Of course, there are guys who are really into monogamy and they're very into the girl, and they would be hurt or upset if she went out with somebody else. But in those cases, I always tell the girl, just don't sleep around. And if he wants to wait for you, he will. You're not going to damage anything by going through your process if you're not having something interlope on that intimacy you have with them.
Well, and that's having that conversation and being honest by the second date.
Mm-hmm.
My experience is that guys were asking me, aren't you seeing anybody else? What do you, blah, blah, blah. And my answer would be, yeah, I'm single, I date. I don't feel the need to get any more details. It's easy,
right? Yeah. I'm single, I date is the perfect answer.
Right, as long as you say it immediately and don't just kind of go, no.
Right. I think that's the difference. I'm not a child anymore, and I really wasn't a child a few years ago either. I think that's the difference between an adult, somebody with experience, and then maybe the younger folks who are just trying to find their way through this. Yes. I think by the time you hit a certain age, you're just going to speak your truth. It takes too much energy to create false scenarios anyways. Just going to speak the truth because we're interested in companionship and partnership. And if you don't like me the way I am or you don't like my presentation, we should figure that out really quick. So for me, as an adult, being honest, it's not very difficult. Now, I've tried dating younger men, and boy, do they have a different point of view on that. Mm-hmm. It's like, what do you wait till the sixth date to tell the truth or something?
Right, and to make it happen faster helps expose all that stuff sooner. People cover up and cover up and cover up for a really long time, and then at the point in which they're honest with you, you're like, well, I like that other person, so this is just a bill of goods. You know what I mean? It makes people really confused. So we, as four-man planners, like to lay it all out there up front and get that reaction.
What I like about this is it puts everybody on notice. Hey, look, I'm busy. I have a life. I'm not sitting by the phone. I'm not waiting for you to call. If you're not able to go out with me or if you got other things going on, I'm going to be okay because I've got somebody who wants to spend time with me.
Yes, and when you're ready, I'll be ready.
Yeah, absolutely.
And back to the ladies, original concept on this. When a lady says that to a gentleman, most of them, of course, there's always the exception, most guys react by, they get a little bit jealous and then they sort of step up to the plate. Try saying that to a woman, Mordant.
Well, I have made a contingency for men because I've been asked a lot if men can do the plan. And if there are someone who is a multiple dater anyway, I say absolutely, and all you have to do is tell every single woman about the four-man plan. So if she's in your graph, you're in her graph. So she's not going through all of the pain that women normally go through in that situation.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, that was what I was going to ask you about next.
I would still be in pain. I don't want to hear that my guy is seeing someone else. Sorry.
Yeah, I think that's the claws are going to come out, and it's going to be a little more difficult. But it sounds like that's the direction you're going in. You're going to have something for the men. Before we go on to that, Sarina, do you have anything else that you want to say to Cindy, or do you have any other questions?
No, I just wanted to say thank you, and I'm just so delighted I figured out how to call you. I was just texting Mordant and writing on his Facebook page, like, how do I do this? I've been just waiting to say thank you for a few years. So.
Oh my gosh, thank you. That really humbles me. I'm really passionate about empowering women and reducing their suffering. So you're the perfect example.
Well, there's a lot of us out here that appreciate you. Have a great show, you guys. All right.
Thank you, Sarina. And for those who are interested, Sarina will be back next week talking about her own book on Valentine's Day. So tune in for that. So, Cindy Lou, let's get into it. Let's move on into it. Let's talk about the 4-Women Plan.
Okay.
I'm a single guy. Bring it. Do you have something, or is it what I really think is going to happen, that these, if I start telling women, oh, no, I'm dating somebody else, baby, it's all good, are they going to start, clawing my eyes out, and I'm going to be in some serious trouble?
Well, I think it really depends. I think that when I've had a few guys, and I've actually coached one all the way through his process of the 4-Woman Plan. I coach people on Skype, and I coach people in person in Malibu. And that just sort of ramps up their process because they also get the benefits of my energy healing and channeling access. And what he experienced, and what I had him do exactly what I just said. Every woman that he went out with, by the end of the second date, he had to tell them that he was seeing other women, and he had to tell them the basics of the 4-Man Plan and give them access to the book, just tell them how to get it. Like, they can buy it online if they want. And then they can make their own decisions. At least that way they know, the women know the playbook that the man is going by, and it gives them a way to feel good about having you in their graph then. Because if you have, 4 guys in your graph or more, depending on how they quantify, and a lot of women like these guys who are bad boys, but for a lot of guys, the bad boy thing is getting tired. They're just looking for a girl that's really worth it, and giving up like whatever the fun and excitement of, dating around is. So it really helps the women find a program for themselves while you're dating. Have you tried that yet?
I have not actually tried doing the 4-Man Plan or 4-Woman Plan, because as I was listening to the 4-Man Plan, it counseled against doing that. And I believed what you said there, because that made sense to me. I thought that it wasn't going to go over very well. I think that men and women, although we're all human, there are differences between us. And if you start saying, no, baby, I'm dating 3 other women, I think that's going to be my life.
Well, I don't really think so now, because things have really changed because of online dating. I think anyone who meets another person that they just met online, there's the assumption that, of course, you were shopping for chicks like you were shopping for shoes on Zappos. It's not a mystery. So I think it's even more honest to just go about it this way. Times have changed, technology has changed everything. They can stalk you on Facebook and find out about it anyway. And why should you then be limited to only dating one woman? I think the way to go about it is just to be honest, loving, and willing with each of them.
Right. And honestly, I think that men, if you want to see if you have a caliber, if you want to see if you measure up, date a 4-Man planner and see how that goes. You'll see how you stand up, how you stand up to the other men she's dating, because she knows the plan. She talks to other women who know the plan. She talks to the men who now all know the plan. And if you're not going to step up your game, you're going to be out really quickly.
Yeah, I mean, I have a dream, that everyone would that the 4-Man Plan wouldn't be a secret thing. I mean, we're meeting with television producers, and if we can make it a television show and bring it into the cultural lexicon, it will give everyone a different language and format to work by, because right now there just really isn't one.
Right. Now, other than your website, you're kind of hard to find. You're not really on Facebook. You have a private group, and that's cool. But I was like, where are you at, woman? How come you're not available for everybody to at least stumble on? Why are you not on Facebook or Twitter, or what's up with that, Cindy? You're killing me.
I am technically, it's not my zone of even competence. I'm fairly incompetent technically, and so I do what I can. When I started, I do have a website at thefourmanplan.com, and if people want to inquire about coaching, they can do that at my name, Cindy Lou, at fourmanplan.com. But I don't know. I feel terrible that you've said that. I really feel behind, but I'm looking for I'm looking for technical assistance. I don't even tweet.
It just makes it hard for us to pimp you out. And honestly, that's what minions are for, baby. You need to find some minions.
Or she can just learn
I've
the
had
system.
minions, and, it's funny because I really have very little luck even talking to technical people. So I'm so the opposite end, but I really am trying. I do have a YouTube channel, so I have been posting regular advice on the YouTube channel from questions that women have in my forum, and I do have a website where you can contact me. So I'm a little elusive, but I am findable, so I'm still a four-man planner at heart.
Well,
I think Charles was trying to say something with all this. Charles, are you there?
yeah,
Yes.
I was just suggesting that, she could learn it. I mean, that's what she's talking about, not passing it off. She's not a 4-tweet planner. She's a 4-man plan. But have you thought about doing podcasting like this, where you could just sit down and do your own little radio show once a week and have people interact?
Yeah, I would love something like that. Right now, I always say to my girls that are being coached on Skype that they're getting their own little Cindy Lou show. But I love the intimacy of coaching women through the plan because the same issues come up over and over and over again. So I think a podcast would be a really great idea.
Well, we can talk about that. I love hooking people up with
Okay.
podcasts. But, I was raised in the South where I don't know what the stereotypes are because I just ignored all of them. But I was very much an alpha male. And when I met my wife, I worked on the ambulance. She worked in the hospital. And I met her for the first time. We just got to talking. She was seeing somebody. And
I remember you telling the story
Yeah.
with Paige, yes.
there you go. So then I'll just do the short version I found it freeing. I found it to be, because I wasn't looking to get married. I was just establishing my career. I was about to go back to school. She was a cute girl. I just wanted to go out, have fun, respect her. I'm not trying to get laid or anything. I just want to go out, have some company, have some fun. And knowing that she had some other guy that she was also dating non-seriously, it really, you would think that would challenge your ego. For me, it was like, there was some ego because I always refer to it as I won.
Sure. Well, as soon as you came to
yeah.
get to a place where you were ready for a commitment, then that's when it became challenging for you, right?
Honestly, not really, because the freedom that you have to not have that pressure of, I've got to entertain her every week, or she has to be with me every weekend, or what are we? Are we exclusive? What are we? It was, we went in going, you're dating another. In fact, the first date I had with her, I went out to another girl's house before I went to see her. I called it hedging my bets. Apparently now I call it a two-girl plan. But it was a freedom there. And when we started to get more and more serious, it was allowed to take the natural course instead of having outside pressure of, well, we've been exclusive for so long, really we should be going. It was just, at the point when we wanted to be exclusive, we were. That's when we said, you know what, this is us. We don't really have any interest in going outside of this.
So now, had she in the beginning, if she was really focused on you and trying to pin you down to be her boyfriend, how would you have reacted to that? As opposed to the approach she took?
Looking back on how I was then, probably would have scared me off a little bit. I mean, I wasn't much of a... I guess I am kind of the monogamous, because I say that right. I am the one...
You speak for a living.
I know, right? I am the one-woman man, and so I don't typically date out, more than one girl at a time, even just for fun. But had she been super serious fast, or, I don't know, any kind of pressure... I might not have handled it right, I guess is just the best way.
Right. I mean, because I think a lot of women do have instincts about these things, and they'll meet a guy and they'll be like, oh, well, by the way, you're my husband. And they get really focused on this guy having this gut instinct. He's really the one, but he's not in the position to understand that or want that or accept that. So that's another perk is that, you can let someone languish. There's one gal, she was one of the first girls in my forum, and the first guy she had on her graph was this guy called Shy Guy, right? And he was so sweet and so honest, loving, and willing, and she just liked bad boys. So she dated, and then she went with some other guy, right? Mm-hmm. And then he turned out to be a complete jerk, and so she started the graph again. Well, here comes Shy Guy, right? He's back in her graph, and she dates and goes off with some other guy who turns out to be not right for her either, right? And then she goes back to the four-man plan, and then there he is, right? Shy Guy. And finally now they've been together for well over a year and really happy. So we have to rock that Coke machine back and forth a few times before it'll go over, you know?
Yeah, I get it.
So you mentioned honest, loving, and willing, and I know that's your three standards that women should hold up against their men. Can you get into that a little bit?
Absolutely. I've found that if you don't have all three, there's really no basis for the kind of relationship that a gal who would even venture into the four-man plan is looking for. Usually four-man planners are really into their own growth and development and discovering, the different varieties of perspectives of looking at life. And so if you don't have a guy that's willing, that usually means somebody who is not going to try new things, not going to want to take the relationship deeper, just not willing, like resistance. I almost say someone who's not willing, maybe you could describe them as just not curious about themselves or the world around them. They're sort of locked into a paradigm. So that's why willing is really important, because people who, to grow in a relationship, you need to be constantly opening up your world to see other perspectives, so that's really important. And then loving is just somebody who can express themselves and their love for you. There's so many women who get into these great relationships and they know the guy really loves them or likes them, but he just can't express it. He can't show it in any way. And that sort of leaves us with an empty feeling and not a lot to build on there, And honest, come on, you can't do anything without honest. We can do everything if everybody's honest, even if they're saying things that we don't like. It gives us our choices to make. But if men are withholding information or lying, or women are doing the same, then it doesn't give the person that you're participating in a date or a relationship with the appropriate options, so you have to have someone that's all three in order to go forward. And then the fourth thing, so eventually I find that girls go from having a graph full of, kind of guys they don't like or losers or bad boys or alcoholics to having a graph full of honest, loving, and willing men. And from there, they can search for a match that is exciting to them on a, from a lifestyle and attraction and, excitement basis.
You talk about women and people in general about how they suck at love. Do you feel that as they're following? I love using that expression. What about you? I think you just suck at love. Do you find that as they're on the four-man plan, their picker gets better? Do they get better at it? And so now their graph, it starts off by having a bunch of losers in it, and slowly you weed them out. But do they tend to pick more losers, or do you start seeing that it's filled with quality people?
You know what happens? I don't want to say losers, right? Because I think everybody's divine, whether they're wearing a goofy suit or not. So in each person is just a divine being. It just depends on how deeply buried they are. But what was your original question?
Woohoo! Unseat the guest. My question was that, we start off sucking at love.
Okay.
Do we get better as we're on the four-man plan?
Absolutely, because your patterns become revealed, and you can't deny when it's your issue. I really struggle with the language of saying, you have to kind of admit you suck at love, but I think for people to really open themselves up to a process that is uncomfortable, it can be challenging at times. I always say it's at some point, if you're 300 pounds or 350 pounds, you got to look at the mirror and go oh, I'm a big fatty. I got to do something about it before you're going to be willing to allow someone to put you on a restricted calorie diet and an exercise program, which we all know is unpleasant in the beginning. You know what I mean? So to be able to admit to yourself, I suck at love, is the same as just looking in the mirror and saying, I need to do something about this situation. I need to be responsible for my experience. You know what I mean? If my experiences with men are all sort of tragic and heartbreaking and lies and drama, then I need to look at the mirror and say, I suck at love because I'm responsible for my experience. So eventually, yes, once they follow the plan and integrate, the different parts of their mind and their emotion and learn to enjoy themselves and not be judgmental, they do stop sucking at love.
Is there any way, because I know it and I like it so much, is there any way to break down the mantras graph to people
Yes.
somewhat simply?
Yeah. So it starts with a 2x2 square, right? Just a little 4 square. And then each one of those squares are broken up into 4 more small squares. And there's 4 ways of quantifying the men that you're dating. The first one is a quarter man, and a quarter man would just be a quarter of 1 square. So potentially you could have 16 of those, right? And I say that, and people go, what are 16 men? But if you go on to 3 dating websites, right, and you start winking at people and shooting arrows, I don't know what all the things there are on those websites, but if you start doing that and getting little responses, it really wouldn't be difficult to accumulate 16 people that are quarter men, and what qualifies a quarter man is that you've had contact with that person, there's been mutual interest, but there hasn't really been a date yet, and there hasn't been the notification for that man that he is part of your dating stable.
Right.
So the next increment is the half man, and like I said, it's really important that you tell a man by the end of the second date that you're seeing other men, and that in conjunction with the date qualifies him as a half man. You can't just tell a guy online that you're dating other guys and qualify him as a half man. You have to actually meet him in person. So you have to meet him in person, and you have to tell him you're dating other men. That makes him a half man, right? All the way until you get to a whole man, and that would be a quarter of your 4 squares. He would take 1 whole box. A whole man is someone that you're starting to develop some feelings for. Maybe there's been some making out over the clothes kind of business. Nothing, too, not the exchange of too many bodily fluids. And, just enjoying each other on a deeper level, like you're actually getting to know this person and starting to have some feelings for them. So that's a whole man. And then the last category is the 2 1/4 man, and that is anyone that you're having sex with. So there is room to have sex with 1 person on your graph, and the reason why it's 2 1/4 is because then you can't have 2, right? Because you can't go over 4.
Right.
So if you have 2 2 1/4, that would make 4 1/2, and that would be too many. So you draw these men into your graph, and you change out your graph every week because people are going to go up and down in their little quantities, and people will come in and drop out, and, things will happen. So I have women redraw their graph every week, usually on Sunday night or Monday morning after they've had their dates for the week.
Right. Excellent, excellent. Well, listen, we do have a full house right now, so if anybody has any questions for Cindy or you just want to say hello, actually, more importantly, if you have any questions for Cindy, please call in 813-413-7133. Join in the conversation. We are learning some stuff tonight.
And
So
this is probably your one real good chance to say hello to her, so why not, Biggest celebrity.
Well, yeah, because I'm so inaccessible.
I know. Baby, just let us set you up a Facebook fan page. Come on, let us do that for you.
Yeah, please. I would love that. Please. I see on the Facebook it says there is like the Four-Man Plan book page and says no information added yet. And so I click on that and I have no way to add it. I don't even know how to do it. So feel my husband's pain, please, because I can barely send emails.
Oh, my God, we've just become minions. We're Four-Man Plan minions. Great.
Then you just mentioned your husband. Is that what I heard?
Yes. Uh-huh.
So how long have you been married, and did you go through the plan to find him?
Yes. So my husband and I have been married. We're just coming up on our 5-year anniversary. We've been together. Thank you. We've been together for 11 years. So we took the slow road, which I really advise people to enjoy every part of the process. So enjoy the dating part. Enjoy the girlfriend-boyfriend part. That's so fun. Enjoy being engaged, don't race to the end game because, frankly, you'll look back and really have fond memories of having taken your time until you're really ready to take each next step. But I met him I was doing the plan about 9 months. You know, it was in development, and I actually even did a stand-up comedy bit about it in which 4 of the men and my future husband, who was not on the graph at the time, showed up to that comedy show. That's how open I was about the whole thing. 2 of them actually sat at the same table because it's a comedy club, you know, so you just got to get your drink and sit down. I was like, huh. So I was dating several men. He was actually an energy healing client of mine. So he had met some of the other men, and he had heard me talk about the 4-man plan. But he was my client for about 4 or 5 months, and we really got to know each other that way. And he was supremely not my type. I mean, couldn't have been further from it. Because I like bad boys, and, you know, alcoholics were my favorite. They were just my absolute favorite. Anybody damaged was great for me. And so finally, after I had sort of graduated from the healing sessions, that day as he was leaving, he'll say that I kissed him, but I'll say that he scooped me up and kissed me. So something just sort of smashed us together. And from that moment on, that night, he became part of my graph.
I think it was Charles Nelson Reilly that brought you together.
He might have. He might have. So he became part of my graph at that point, but I continued dating for about another month or 6 weeks. And Earl finally sat me down and said, you know what, I know you're the one for me. You know, ditch these jokers. And I thought about it for a little while, and I finally did that. And it's been, you know, not the smoothest ride, but boy, ever since we had our honeymoon, something just broke open, and we've been really just smooth sailing ever since then. But those first 6, 7 years, like, we wrote out some really interesting stuff, which is what I'm writing about now.
So you're coming out with another book.
Yeah, now I'm sort of more interested in working on helping people in relationships stay in those relationships and stay happy in those relationships.
Well,
So because I think there's another cultural paradigm out there that says that, oh, once you get married, it's over. You know what I mean? The fun's over, the sex is over, the excitement's over, and that just really doesn't have to be true. You know, it really doesn't have to be true. I'm so excited about my husband now and everything that we're doing. We're more attracted to each other physically than we've ever been. We're constantly growing, and, you know, I'm just mesmerized by him, and I imagine he would say the same about me.
And
Well, one of the things I really like about your book is that you get into your whole life and you go and take us through your whole process, that with you meeting your husband and all the guys before, and the early steps in the 4-man plan. So you're very, very transparent there, in which you show us what it was like for you, and that makes it easier, I think, for the women reading this to go, oh, well, I can have those missteps too, and then eventually lead on to that success that you had.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not a doctor. You know, I don't have thousands of case studies, and I don't have that background. What I have is that I got myself from point A to point B. I'm rags to riches, right? I was a stalker. I was just a slut and a stalker, and a crazy person. Really, a woman who just did everything wrong. I mean, I was crying every night over this guy or that guy, and, you know, so I like to at least reveal to people, it's like, this is just how I did it. And if you find that useful, then fantastic, you know. And it was really a surprise to me, because I really told the story as a personal story. Even the 4-man plan was just like, this is how I did it. I did it this way, you know. And so the fact that it sort of caught on, and, you know, now it's in 7 languages and it's worldwide, that just humbles me to the core, that I could approach it from such a non-clinical point of view and use humor and laughter and transparency as my ways of expressing my compassion to all of the women out there, rather than having, you know, done it on a clinical level. So thank you. I really found that that's a powerful way for me to communicate, and I'm doing the same with the relationship book.
Good, because I think it makes it fun for everybody.
I'm glad, because for a while I was like, is this just too self-centered? You know? Like I'm an actress, I write about myself, and, so I do find now that it is a powerful way of communicating, especially when you can say to someone, you know what, I was like you, so I know who you are in there, and that you're beautiful, and that you can be stable and loving, and once women can sort of pull their brains and their energies out of all the suffering around men, that is just an atomic bomb of power and creativity and, all this effort that they put into it. They just blossom into who they're really supposed to be outside of a relationship with a man. And that's what excites me.
Well, right now I want to give a shout out. I got a tweet from a good friend of ours. It's Kirsten, and she says, loving this podcast, loving it. And both times the words loving are all caps. So thank you, Kirsten, for doing that. Now, getting back to your book just a little bit, what I really liked, something else that you said, is that, people are like, well, how come you're getting all these great guys? We're stuck with all the bad boys. And you're like, you don't understand. These great guys are probably the bad boys with you, but they're stepping up, with a four-man planner, they have to step up their game. They're the same guy. You just have to, and you're not trying to change them into something else. You're not trying to, make them, it's not that trap where you're trying to transform them, but you're saying, look, if you want to go out with me, if you want to spend and have a great relationship with me, you're going to have to be a person of quality, and I know you can be. And a lot of times with the competition, the guys do step it up.
Well, and I really need to point out that we really require the women to be honest, loving, willing, and step it up themselves. I don't want people to think that it's just like women are just languishing, collecting men, rubbing their evil hands together. I mean, we really ask a lot of the women. I know we ask a lot of the guys. So, for me, it is, some people pay $3 for a Big Mac, and they pay $30 for a filet mignon.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like the same person who will pay $33 for a Big Mac pays $30 for a filet mignon. They don't get a bill for a filet mignon and say, this is supposed to be $3. You know what I mean? Right. They know the difference of the quality. So if you, make yourself a juicy piece of meat and not just something that's fast and easy.
That's an interesting way to phrase all that.
I've never done that before. Sometimes my metaphors get a little far afield, but you know what I mean.
The internet is forever. No, it was great. That was great. So what's next for Cindy Lu?
Right now I'm really excited that I've joined the staff at the Malibu Healing Center. I mean, talk about a dream location to help people out of. And so I've been doing my coaching, and the coaching is so funny because girls come to me because of the four-man plan, and then through the coaching, inevitably they tend to find a mate pretty quickly. And then after that, they stay with me for coaching. What I do another thing called inner eye training, in which I am teaching women to have a practical application and a deep understanding of their intuition, their sixth, seventh, and eighth senses, and how to use them powerfully in the world. So that's something I teach women, and people stick around for that, long after they've found a mate. And I also, the first year of a relationship, I think, is the make it or break it time. And so I really teach women now how to do powerful negotiations during that time, because those first negotiations are really difficult to change and break later on. So I'm really excited about relationships at this point. It's been so long since I've dated. I mean, my God, I don't even know how these websites work. You know what I mean? I met people in person, so I can't even advise people on online dating anymore. So at this point, my focus is on the enrichment of relationships and the empowerment of women, not making them more like men, but using all of the gifts that were given to us.
Right, that's very nice.
So, I'm doing that online, and obviously, I guess next I'm going to be doing a podcast.
Yes, you will be.
Thanks, Charles.
So,
now get to work. Which? No.
You're awesome. Let's pimp you out a little bit. How can people find you? I know you've got thefourmanplan.com. I don't know if you want to shoot them at the Malibu Healing Center or what. How do you want people to find you?
The4manplan.com is a great way. There's a contact me page. And also, you can find me on Facebook. I'm there. You couldn't find. Okay. How do I do a fan page? I don't know. I don't even know how to do a fan page.
We'll talk to you later.
Okay. All right. You know what? Sometimes, some people have strengths, and when they have a strength, it means obviously they're going to have a weakness somewhere else. I tell my girls this all the time. It's like, if you see the guy is really, really bad at something, just know that they're really, really good at something else. So find what that is. And now I've revealed both sides to you.
Excellent. Well, so just the fourmanplan.com, and yeah, Cindy Lu is on Facebook. I know your personal page is there.
My personal page is there, and that's that's my niece and stuff. My husband are on there as my friends, but I also have fans that are there too, so they can contact me that way anytime.
Excellent. Do you have any? I heard the final gong, which means we have to begin wrapping stuff up. Do you have any advice for men? A last thing that you can offer the rest of us?
Well, I think for men, here's the man that I want to talk to. The man that I want to talk to is the one that's holed up playing video games in the dark with a group of other sweet men that are holed up playing video games in the dark and not going out in the world because they feel like women, they don't have that kind of game that these bad boys have. So I want to encourage those men to go out into the world and shine their sweetness out on these women, because that's what they're really looking for. My husband is the kind of guy who didn't approach women, isn't like a smooth talker. He's just a sweet, wonderful guy. I want those men to know that women are looking for them.
All right.
So get out there and just shine your sweet light, because you're the one we want to be paired up with for the long haul.
Well, thank you very much, Cindy Lu, for being a part of The Other Side of Life. This has been a great, fun episode for, I think, all of us. I know I've had a good time.
I've had a great time.
Great. If you hang on just a second, I want to talk to you after we're done with this.
Sure,
Charles.
Sure, okay.
Yes, sir.
All right, let's send everybody out of here. We are live. Those of you listening to the podcast, we are live every Tuesday at 9:30 p.m. Eastern Time at thebearcrawlingnation.com/NAS. The No Agenda Stream is what NAS stands for.
That's right. And I do want to mention something easy to access for all your computers, tablets, Roku boxes, and phones. That would be the TuneIn app, T-U-N-E, like a radio, TuneIn. And you can find the No Agenda Stream right there. It's really easy to do. You just set it as a preset. I found myself walking around with my phone playing it most of the time now. It's a very easy way to tune in. So there you go. And it'll play the stream constantly as long as you want to listen. Work, home, in the car, wherever you are, you can listen.
If you want to find any of the older episodes of The Other Side of Live, you can go to theothersideoflive.com. And, of course, we are on Facebook. Look for us there. Like us there. Facebook.com/BCN Tosol.
And, we could actually use some more followers on Twitter with the @BCN Live Now. That really is just an alert that goes to your Twitter that lets you know we're live. So in case you forget what time it is, or in the case of Livid Viv, if you're in Mumbai, India next week and you forget the time difference, as long as you follow @BCN Live Now, you will get the little alert that says, hey, we're going live in 5 minutes, and you won't miss the show.
And, of course, you can find Charles at bearcrawlingnation.com, and you can find me, Mordant, at mordantworld.com. I think we've covered everything on this. Is that about it?
I'm actually here, too, live Thursday nights, 9:30 p.m. for Not Your Mama's podcast, the Bear Crawling Live show. All real and untamed, baby. We get it. We get down in the mud with that one. And that's here on No Agenda Stream as well, 9:30 p.m. Eastern on Thursdays.
That is a wild ride. I think that we've got everything handled. Thank you again, Cindy Lu, for being with us tonight.
Thank you.
Thank you, Charles. Thank you, everybody out there listening in as we give lessons on how to dance outside your comfort zone.
And to have fun while you're doing it.
There you go.
That's right. We'll see you all next Tuesday.
So raise
Ciao, dream catchers.
So raise your glass if you are wrong. And
Boom, baby.
Boom, baby.
people loving anything but love. And maybe